Hello and welcome to our parent meeting for the introduction to Read Write Inc. Read Write Inc is our phonics scheme that we use here at Waterside, and this presentation is going to take you through what the children experience at school and what you can expect to see coming home with them and how you can help as well. To start us off, a quote from Jeanette Winterson: "Teach a child to read and keep that child reading and we will change everything." And I mean everything. Here at Waterside, across our curriculum, reading is a vital part of the way that children learn. So being able to access all kinds of text and being able to decode, segment and blend those words is a really important part of being able to access everything that we do here. So who is Read Write Inc for? Phonics is for the children that start with us in nursery. It carries on through reception, year 1 and year 2, for those children that are learning to read. Phonics is also for the children in year 3 and 4 who haven't quite met those Key Stage 1 reading expectations. We want to make sure that they are catching up quickly and that they leave our school as confident readers. So what Read Write Inc does is simple. We teach children to read and write sounds. Children practice reading and spelling the words containing these sounds. Then we give children decodable books containing sounds and words that they can read. They read each storybook at least 3 times at school and then again with you at home. On each reading, children's fluency increases and the more they can then focus on what the story is about. Children also learn to spell the words that they've been reading and develop their ideas into sentences so that they can then write about the storybooks that they've read. Alongside this, we read stories to children, and these are stories that they cannot yet read for themselves. In the same way that children are learning to swim and play the violin, whilst your children are learning to read, they work in progress groups to master each level of phonics and reading. Children work in these progress groups for half an hour each day. This means that they're learning at their challenge level for 2.5 hours a week. The children in reception will slowly build up to this throughout the year. And then as the reading leader, I assess and regroup the children every half term, and this allows us to whisk the children through the phonics stages as quickly as possible for them as individuals. We want to make sure that every child learns to read within our school. Some children need extra practice when learning to read, so we teach these children in one-to-one or small groups for up to 10 minutes every day on top of their daily group lessons. We make sure that they keep up from the beginning and that they don't need to catch up later on. All words are made up of individual sounds. These sounds are blended together to form words. For example, we have the sounds at, mat, and ip in ship. A grapheme is another name for the letters we use to write the sounds. It's spelling of a sound on the page. Using phonics, children learn to read by saying each sound and blending them to read. Children learn to spell by segmenting or breaking up a word into sounds and then writing the matching graphemes. The national curriculum ensures that all children are taught phonics systematically. This gives your children the tools to read any word, for example, demonstrate, containing, roamed, by sounding them out. We use 44 sounds to make all the words in the English language. This means we've got a problem. We've got 44 sounds and only 26 letters. The 26 letters work singly, in pairs and sometimes in threes to represent one sound. We have to group letters together to write some sounds, for example I, IGH, or air, AIR. In English, we have more than 150 ways to represent those 44 sounds using only the 26 letters in the alphabet. This makes English one of the most complex languages in the world in terms of reading. Read Write Inc phonics makes learning to read easy for children because we start by teaching them just one way of reading and writing every sound. Here they are in a simple speed sounds chart. These are up in all of our classrooms here at Waterside. We teach set 1 sounds first, then set 2, which is one way to read and write each of the long vowel sounds. Once children know how to read set 2 sounds, they then learn set 3 sounds. These are the different ways to read and spell set 2 sounds. We call these set 3 sounds, but they're actually the same sounds as in set 2, just with the different spelling. The way we teach this is by saying same sound, different spelling. For example, they know that the AY makes the A sound. When they come into set 3, they learn the split digraph A as well as the AI digraph as well. Alongside teaching children sounds, we teach them to blend sounds to read the words. For example, s, at, sat. We use Fred the Frog to help us with our sound blending, and the children will segment and blend the words alongside Fred, and this really helps to keep our children engaged. This is Fred, and as I said, Fred helps the children learn to blend the sounds into a word. Fred can only speak in sounds. He says d or g or h, at. The children then help him to say the word. This is how we quickly teach all of our children to blend orally. We practice blending orally so that the children find word reading easier. We also use something called Fred fingers to help our children sound out words to be able to spell them easier. It means they don't have to memorise lots of lists of spelling words. It's a tool that they'll be able to use to spell any word. They sound the word out and use the number of fingers to represent the number of sounds. At Waterside, children read Read, Write, Ink storybooks that match the sounds that they can currently read. They read each Read, Write, Ink storybook at least 3 times in class with a partner. Rereading the same book helps children become really confident readers. Each time they reread, they build their fluency, their speed and their comprehension. They end up loving being able to read the books because they can read the words in the storybooks. This repetition really helps with that confidence in all of our children. Children will be able to read pretty much all of the words in the storybook. If they hesitate, remind them to read the word using their special friends and their Fred talk. For example, this means that if they spot the sh, then Fred talk and blend in the word to read would be sh, ip, ship. It helps to break those words down and reminds the children that if they slow down, they can segment the word into manageable chunks. Some words are tricky because they contain letters that don't necessarily match the sounds that the children have been taught. For example, said has an AI in the middle but makes the eh sound. We teach these common exception words as red words. In the early storybooks, these words are printed in red texts so that the children can identify them easily. Remind your children not to use Fred talk to read the red words, but instead to stop and think, see if they can remember that word, and please make sure you help them if they are stuck on these words and remind them that they are at the front of the book for them to refer to. What will your children be bringing home? So in your child's book bag, they will bring home a storybook that they've been reading in class. This will be a black and white copy, and it's one that they should be fairly confident with reading to you. They will also bring home a book bag book, a nice glossy covered book that links to that story that they've been reading in class. It will have the same sounds in it, but this is one they might not be as confident with because they won't have read it with their teacher. This is the book that I would like you to make sure that you are reading the most, that they're really practicing those red words and making sure that they're segmenting and blending the words within the story. They will also bring home a picture book, a library book, to share with you. You can read the story to them, they can retell it to you, they can look at the pictures. We're not expecting the children to read this story by themselves. The more the children read, the faster progress they'll make. You will also have an orange reading record within that book. If you could make a little comment, just letting us know how they're getting on with the books, their teachers will make sure that this is checked weekly. Also, please make sure that these books come into school every day. The children will have opportunities to read within class every day, so if they haven't got that book with them, they're missing out on that extra learning opportunity. So what can you do to help at home? Use pure sounds rather than letter names. Use Fred Talk to help your children read and spell words. Listen to your children read their storybook every day. And of course, read stories to your children every day as well. There are also lots of free video tutorials on the Ruth Miskin website. Here are just a few web pages that also might help you. The Oxford Owl website, your children do have a login to, which will be sent home within their Orange Reading Record. Please log on to there. There might be homework that's shared on there. There might be different books that are aimed at your child's challenge level on there, as well as all those free books for you as well. If you do have any questions, please feel free to come and ask us. We will be running other Read Write Inc workshops throughout the year, so please make sure you are keeping an eye out for those, and it would be great to see you at some of them as well.